Good morning, dear friend. Pull up a chair and sit with me a minute. I've been waiting for you. I'm Dr. Hope, 86 years old. 50 of them spent listening to hearts beat a little too fast from worry. I've taken care of more than 23,000 patients in my little clinic here in Asheville, North Carolina. And I still see folks every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. My nurses threaten to hide my stethoscope if I don't slow down. But how can I? Not when I know what's waiting for so many of you on the other side of the bedroom door every morning. Can I ask you something that still makes my throat tight? When was the last time you reached for your slippers and felt a little stab of fear that today might be the day your knees finally say no more? Or you stood at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at the bedroom you've slept in for 40 years, and thought, maybe tonight I'll just sleep on the couch again, that quiet. Private ache, that's the one I want to talk about today. 3 summers ago, a woman named Margaret came to see me. She was 72, retired principal of Jefferson Elementary. The kind of teacher every kid remembers forever. She walked in with a walker that first morning, gripping it so hard her knuckles were white. She didn't cry about the walker. She cried because her daughter had carried her pillow downstairs the night before and said, "Mom, it's just safer this way." Margaret looked at me with tears sliding down those soft cheeks and whispered, "Dr. Hope, I'm not ready to be moved out of my own life." I took her hand, those beautiful teacher hands that had graded thousands of papers, and I made her a promise right then and there. I promised that before the first Christmas lights went up on our street, she would climb those 12 stairs to her old room, carrying her own pillow, without that walker. She laughed through her tears and said, "You're crazier than I am, Doc." But she trusted me. And on December 23rd, at 9:17 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a video, Margaret at the top of her stairs, pillow tucked under one arm, blowing me a kiss. No walker in sight. How did we do it? Not with fancy therapy or shots or surgery. Just 5 quiet movements she did every morning before her feet ever touched the floor. Movements I learned sitting on tatami mats in Okinawa, watching 95-year-old great-grandmothers carry water buckets up hills like they were 20. Harvard sent researchers with me the 3rd summer, and what we brought home wasn't complicated. It was gentle. It was kind to old joints. And it only takes 17 minutes. Here's what I can promise you today. Straight from my heart to yours. If you'll give me 17 minutes each morning, I'll give you back mornings without fear. Knees that bend without complaining. A back that lets you pick up a grandchild without thinking twice. And the quiet joy of knowing that upstairs bedroom is still yours for as many years as God gives you. Before we start, would you do something for an old country doctor? Look down in the comments and tell me how old you are today and where you're watching from. I read every single one. My granddaughter helps me on Sundays, and nothing lights up my day like seeing your names pop up. Now come with me. Let's begin with the very first movement Margaret did the morning after she left my office. The one that started melting 50 years of stiffness before the coffee even finished brewing. Come closer. Friend, scoot to the edge of your bed with me. Just like Margaret did that first morning. I can still see her propped up on 3 pillows. Hair in curlers. Looking at me on her phone screen like I'd lost my mind. "Dr. Hope," she said. "I haven't moved my feet like that since I was a cheerleader in 1968. I just smiled and told her. Then, let's wake those cheerleader ankles up again. 1 slow circle at a time. This first movement is so gentle, most folks think it can't possibly do anything important. That's exactly what I thought the first time I watched Mrs. Tanaka, 94 years young, do it on her futon in Okinawa. She was lying flat on her back, one knee drawn up just a little, tracing lazy circles in the air with her big toe like she was painting the ceiling with moonlight. 10 minutes later, she stood up, slipped her feet into wooden guitar clocks, and walked down 15 stone steps to her vegetable patch without even holding the rail. I stood there with my notebook, mouth open, thinking, Lord, if this is what 94 looks like, sign me up. Doctors love to use fancy words. But the truth is simple. Your ankles are the roots of your body's tree. When those roots get stiff overnight, the whole tree wobbles. Every step you take sends a tiny shock wave up through your knees, hips, and spine. If the ankle can't absorb it, something else has to, and usually that something is your lower back or your balance. I've seen it 1,000 times in my office. The patient who swears their problem started in their back. But when we check, it's the ankles that forgot how to move. Tokyo Metropolitan University wanted to prove this wasn't just my old country doctor hunch. They followed 1,400 men and women over 65 for 5 full years. Every single one got their ankle flexibility measured with a simple ruler test. The results still give me chills. The folks whose ankles couldn't bend properly were 2.3 times more likely to fall. And here's the part that keeps me up at night. Half of those falls ended with a broken hip, one fall, one ambulance ride, one surgery later. And everything changes. The bedroom moves downstairs. The walker appears. The grandchildren stop asking grandma to play on the floor. Margaret knew those numbers. She'd read them on some website and cried herself to sleep. That's why this ankle wake-up became our sacred ritual. Here's exactly what I want you to do tomorrow morning before you even think about coffee. Before your feet touch the cold floor, stay lying down. Nice and cozy under the covers. Bend one knee just a little. Lift that foot 6 inches like you're showing the ceiling, your soul. Now pretend you've got a paintbrush glued to your big toe. Paintin' slow. Delicious circles. Clockwise. Not fast. Not yerki. Slow enough that you can feel every tiny muscle in your ankle waking up and stretching like a cat after a nap. Then switch directions 10 more the other way. Margaret used to whisper, stirring honey while she did it. She said it made her smile. When the circles feel good, we add the flex. Point your toes as far away from your nose as they'll go. Hold for 3 full seconds. Now, pull them back toward your face until you feel that gentle stretch along your shin. 15 times. That's all. If 5 feels like plenty the first week, then 5 is perfect. This isn't boot camp. This is a love letter to your ankles. Want to know my favorite upgrade? Keep a hand towel on your nightstand. Nothing fancy. Just one of those soft ones you dried dishes with last night. Loop it around the ball of your foot. Hold both ends, like rinds. And gently pull while you push against the towel with your foot. It's like your ankle is giving itself a tiny hug. Researchers at Kyoto University tested this exact trick on 300 seniors 6 weeks later. Their balance scores on those wobble tests went up 31%. 31%. That's the difference between catching yourself when you trip over the dog and ending up in my ER. Your joints have been asleep for 7 or 8 hours. The fluid inside them, synovial fluid, we call it, turns thick overnight. Like cold maple syrup. These slow circles warm it up, thin it out, and get it sliding smoothly again. I've had patients tell me the pins and needles feeling in their toes vanished before they even sat up. One man, George, he's 81. Korean war vet called me from his kitchen laughing because for the first time in 15 years he could feel the difference between the linoleum and the wood floor without shoes on. Margaret started with just 5 circles each way because her ankles screamed at 10. By week 3, she was doing 20 and teasing me about being too easy on her. By week 6, she was walking her dog around the block again, 3 houses further than the week before. Then 5. Then the whole block. Her daughter texted me a video of Margaret kicking autumn leaves, like a little girl. I watched it 17 times. So tomorrow, before the world starts making demands, give your ankles 5 quiet minutes. Whisper, thank you to them. They've carried you through every dance, every wedding, every airport dash to catch a flight. They deserve a proper good morning. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, swing those happy feet to the floor and sit up slowly. Because now that your foundation is awake, it's time to open the roof of your house. Your shoulders have been folded up all night like a tired bird. Let's teach them how to fly again. Come sit up with me now. Sweetheart, swing your legs over the side of the bed, just like you're about to start the day. But don't stand yet. Let your feet rest flat on the rug or the cool wood floor. Whichever you have. Feel that little tingle from the ankle circles we just did. Good. That's your body saying thank you. Now we're going to give the same gentle wake-up call to the part of you that carries every worry you've ever had right between your shoulder blades. I call this one the grandmother hug, because that's exactly what it feels like you're giving yourself, and Lord knows we all need more hugs as the years go by. You see, by the time most of us blow out 65 candles, we've spent 30,000 hours folded forward like a closed book. Desks at work, steering wheels, dinner tables, smartphones. All of it pulling our shoulders inward until our shoulder blades drift apart like two old friends who stopped writing letters. When that happens, 3. Kia tragedy. Sneak in. First, your lungs can't open all the way, so every breath is a little shallower than it ought to be. Less oxygen to your brain means you feel foggy by 3 o'clock. Second, your neck stays tight as a clothesline in January. And third, your upper back starts to ache every single time you reach for a grandchild or a sack of groceries. I've watched grown men wince just lifting a gallon of milk. Harold taught me how deep that ache can go. He walked into my office one Tuesday morning wearing his old Marine Corps cap pulled low, the way men do when they're trying not to cry in public. 78 years old, built like a chater stump. And he hadn't put his arms around his wife Betty in 3 years without pain shooting through his shoulders. He told me, "Doc, I kiss her goodnight standing 2 feet away now. I'm afraid I'll hurt her if I squeeze too hard. And I'm more afraid I'll hurt myself." Betty waited in the car that day. She always did when Harold was feeling low. I sat him down right there in my exam room chair and taught him the grandmother hug. 10 minutes later, he stood up, rolled those big shoulders back, and looked at me like I'd handed him the keys to heaven. 3 weeks after that, Harold burst through my door, wrapped his arms around me, and lifted me clean off the floor. I'm not a small man. Mind you, Betty was standing behind him, holding a box of homemade pecan sandies, tears running down both cheeks. She said, "Dr. Hope, he danced with me in the kitchen last night. Slow danced. Like 1,959. Here's how you give yourself that same gift. Starting tomorrow morning, stay sitting on the edge of your bed or slide over to the armchair you love. The one with the faded roses your mama picked out. Feet flat. Hands resting easy on your thighs. Close your eyes for just a second and picture the person you love most in this world. Now, take the slowest breath you've taken all week. In through your nose, like you're smelling fresh bread. As that air fills you up, gently draw your shoulder blades together, as if you're trying to tuck a soft butterfly right between them. Don't force it. Don't shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Just let those blades glide toward each other like they're finally coming home after a long trip. Hold that sweet squeeze for 5 full seconds. Feel your chest open like a church door on Sunday morning. Then let it go as you breathe out through softly pursed lips. The way you'd blow a kiss to a sleeping baby? That's 1. Do 20. Nice and easy. If 10 feels like plenty the first few days, then 10 is perfect. This isn't about pushing, it's about remembering. Researchers at Osaka Medical College got curious about movements exactly like this. They measured 800 folks just like you and me. The ones who did this simple squeeze every morning cut their neck and shoulder pain by 54% in 6 months. Their lungs opened up enough to add 23% more breathing capacity. That's the difference between huffing at the top of the porch steps and carrying the laundry basket up without a single pause. Want to turn a good thing into a great one? When you're ready, usually around week 2 or 3. Add what I call angel wings. Same squeeze. But this time, let your arms float out to the sides like you're a little kid pretending to be an airplane. Lift until your hands are shoulder height. Hold for 3 seconds. Then lower slow as molasses. Muscle studies using those fancy EMG wires showed this doubles the work in the exact muscles that keep you standing tall when the world tries to fold you over. Harold started adding the wings the day Betty baked him blueberry muffins as a reward. He texted me a video of himself in their backyard. Arms wide, like he was hugging the whole sky. The grin on that man's face could have powered the whole town. Your shoulders carry more than bone and muscle. Friend, they carry every I should have said. I love you and every I wish I'd slowed down. This movement is your chance to set a little of that weight down every morning. I want you to feel what Harold felt the first time. Betty slipped her arms around his waist from behind while he was washing dishes. He told me later he stood there with soap suds dripping off his elbows and cried like a baby because he could finally hug her back without bracing for pain. So tomorrow, after your ankles have had their warm honey circles, sit up tall and give yourself 20 grandmother hugs. Whisper, "I've got you," each time you squeeze. Mean it. You've earned it. And when those shoulder blades start to remember how good it feels to come home to each other, we'll move on to the part of you that's been waiting the longest, your spine, because once the roof is open, it's time to let the whole house breathe. I've got a patient named Evelyn whose roses are waiting for her to come back. And I want yours waiting for you too. Come on over here to the chair with me. Sweetheart, let the bed take a little rest. We're going to give your spine the kind of good morning it's been begging for since the day you started slouching over spelling tests in 3rd grade. In Okinawa, they have this quiet saying that still echoes in my head every single day: a stiff spine steals your years. I thought it was just poetry until I watched Mrs. Yamada 97. Mind you, bent clear over to tie her great-grandson's shoe without so much as a grunt. Then I looked at my own patients here in Asheville who can't bend far enough to pull weeds without paying for it the rest of the week. Same age. Different spines. One flows like water, the other creaks like an old barn door. I decided, right then, I wasn't going to let that happen to any more of you. Let me introduce you to Evelyn. 75 years young. Hands that once won blue ribbons at the county fair for her roses. She came to me 6 springs ago, wearing sunglasses inside my office, because she didn't want me to see. She'd been crying on the drive over. She sat down, took the glasses off, and said, "Dr. Hope, I can smell my roses from the porch swing now. That's as close as I get. If I try to kneel in the dirt, my back locks up so hard I have to crawl back to the house on my hands and knees. My husband built me that beautiful garden 39 years ago, and I haven't touched a petal in 6. Her voice cracked on the last word, like a dropped teacup. I asked her to stand up and bend forward just a little. She got maybe 4 inches before her whole body froze and her eyes filled again. I knew right then we weren't talking about a sore muscle. We were talking about 24 tiny vertebrae that had forgotten how to dance with each other. That's when I taught her the ocean coral wave Umi no Sengo in Japanese. It sounds fancy, but it's nothing more than reminding your spine. It's an ocean, not a fence post. Your spine isn't one long bone. No matter what it feels like some mornings, it's 24 separate pearls on a string, meant to roll and sway like seaweed in the tide. When we sit too still or slump too long, those pearls start gluing themselves together. The little cushions between them, your discs dry out like sponges left on the counter overnight. You lose height. You lose give. And eventually you lose the garden you love. Researchers at Japan's National Center for Geriatrics and Longevity wanted hard numbers. So they measured hundreds of folks doing this exact wave every morning. 6 months later, the results came in 38%, less lower back pain. And get this, they kept 2.3 centimeters more height than their friends who skipped it. 2.3 centimeters might not sound like much until you realize that's the difference between reaching the good teacups on the second, or having to ask your grandson to get them down for you. Here's how you let your spine remember. It's water again. Slide forward on your chair so your back isn't touching anything. Use the kitchen chair, the one nobody fights over at Thanksgiving. Feet flat. Hip width apart, like you're planting seeds. Rest your hands on your knees. Easy, like you're holding a sleeping kitten. Close your eyes if you want. Now picture your tailbone as the very first drop of a wave. Gently tuck it under, letting your lower back round like a cat stretching.com. Feel that curve travel upward. Slow as sunrise, mid-back, upper back, neck, until you're looking softly at the ceiling, chin lifted just a bit. That's the wave cresting. Now, roll it back down to the sea. 4 seconds up, 4 seconds down. Smooth, No yerking. 10 waves. That's all. If 5 feels like plenty the first week, then 5 is perfect. This isn't a race. It's a love song. Add the breath, and it gets even sweeter. Inhale as the wave rises, like you're pulling the whole ocean into your ribs. Exhale as it falls, letting every worry slide out with the tide. Evelyn started whispering, "Thank you" on every exhale. Said it felt like her spine was answering back. By week 2, she added the tiniest twist at the top shoulders, turning a gentle inch left, then right, like coral swaying in the current. Nothing forced. Just enough to wake up the side muscles that keep you steady when the sidewalk's uneven. I still have the photograph she mailed me on day 30. Evelyn on her knees in the dirt, face buried in a peach-colored rose. Dirt smudged on her cheek, like a kid who forgot nap time. On the back, she wrote, "Dr. Hope, I smelled heaven today." And I didn't crawl answer. Those little discs between your vertebrae, they soak up 12% more fluid the minute you finish these waves. 12%. That's free hydration, straight from heaven. No fancy water bottle required. It's why Evelyn grew, yes, grew almost an inch that first month. Her husband measured her against the kitchen door frame where they'd mark the grandkids every summer. He called me laughing so hard he could barely talk. So tomorrow, after you've given your ankles their honeycircles and your shoulders their grandmother hugs, stay right there in that chair and let 10 slow waves roll through you. Picture Evelyn's roses. Picture Mrs. Yamada tying that shoe. Picture the version of you who still kneels in the garden without thinking twice. And when that last wave settles back into calm water, go ahead and stand up slow. Feel how different your back feels, lighter, taller. That's your spine smiling. Now keep that smile, because we're about to let your hips remember they were born to dance. I've got a patient named Dorothy who thought shuffle walking was her forever. Until one morning her hips decided to sway again. Stand up with me now. Nice and easy. Let your chair take a little rest, because we're about to wake up the part of you that used to sway to Elvis on the kitchen radio without even thinking about it. I want you to feel the floor under your feet like it's the same linoleum your mama danced on when you were little. That's where the magic lives. I call this one the silent hula. And every single patient who's ever tried it ends up smiling like they've been caught doing something deliciously naughty. Because hips, sweet friend, were never meant to march in straight lines. They were born for circles. Your hip joint is God's most perfect ball and socket. Smoother than any machinery we've ever built. But when was the last time you asked it to draw a circle? Probably the summer you were 9, and somebody handed you a hula hoop at the church picnic. After that, forward. Backward. Sit. Stand. Repeat for 60 years. No wonder the capsule around the joint turns stiff as old leather, and the tiny muscles that keep you steady fall fast asleep on the job. I learned just how asleep those muscles can get the day. Dorothy shuffled into my office, 81 years old, wearing 2 clunky knee braces that squeaked with every step, leaning hard on a cane carved from walnut by her late father. She lowered herself into my chair like she was sitting on eggshells and said, "Dr. Hope, I move like my feet are glued in mud. My husband wants to take me dancing for our 60th anniversary next month. And I'm terrified I'll spend the whole night parked in a corner watching everybody else sway." Her eyes filled up faster than she could blink them dry. She whispered, "I used to be the best dancer in Buncombe County." I asked her to stand up and take 3 steps. She did, and her whole body wobbled side to side, like a boat in a storm. I knew right then her hips had forgotten their job was to glide, not grind. That very afternoon, I drove to her little yellow house on the edge of town, pulled a chair away from the kitchen table, and taught her the silent hula, right there between the Frigidaire and the pie safe. We started holding onto her countertop because that's where she felt safe. 6 weeks later, I got a video in the mail. No return address. Just a cassette tape with "Play Me" written in lipstick. I popped it into my old VCR, and there was Dorothy. No braces. No cane. Slow dancing with her husband in their living room, while Nat King Cole sang "Unforgettable" She actually twirled, and looked straight into the camera and mouthed, "Thank you, Doc." I must have watched it 30 times. Still, keep it in my desk drawer for hard days. Here's how you bring your own hips back to the dance floor. Starting tomorrow morning. Stand up wherever you feel, steady kitchen counter. Back of the couch. Even the hallway, if that's what you've got. Feet a little wider than your hips. Knees soft, like you're about to sit, but changed your mind. Rest your hands on your waist, right where your belt would be if you wore one. Now, close your eyes and pretend you're stirring the world's biggest pot of chicken soup with your pelvis. Shift your weight forward onto your toes. Slide it right. Ease it back onto your heels. Drift it left, and let it flow in one smooth. Lazy circle. 10 circles clockwise. 10 the other way. Slow enough that your upstairs neighbors wouldn't even hear. This isn't exercise. It's remembering. Dorothy started with 5 circles each direction because 10 made her dizzy the first day. By day 10, she was doing 20 and humming Blue Hawaii under her breath. By week 4, she mailed me a postcard from the senior center. Dance her and Mr. Dorothy front and center. Smiling like newlyweds. Researchers at Tsukuba University got curious about old hips that suddenly started moving like young ones. They followed 2,000 seniors for 7 whole years. The ones who did gentle hip circles every morning were 51% less likely to end up needing hip replacement surgery. 51%. And serious falls, the kind that land you in my hospital, dropped 40%. 40? That's the difference between swaying in your husband's arms at your 60th anniversary and watching from a folding chair with a walker parked beside you. Want to turn good into great? Once the basic circles feel like coming home, play with 3 heights. First round low, like the hula hoops around your knees. Second round medium, right at hip level. Third round high. Imagine the hoop spinning around your rib cage. Dorothy added the high ones the week she ditched the knee braces for good. Then, when you're ready, and only then, pick up something light, a water bottle, a television remote, a grandchild's stuffed bear. Hold it at chest level while you circle. Your deep belly muscles wake up, like they've been waiting their whole life to be invited to the party. Studies show core activation jumps 23%. The minute you add that tiny bit of weight, 23% more stability for every step you take the rest of the day. I want you to feel what Dorothy felt the first time her husband spun her under the kitchen light and she didn't wobble once. She told me later, she closed her eyes and swore she was 25 again. Barefoot, on the pier at Myrtle Beach. Sand between her toes and Elvis on the jukebox. So tomorrow, after your spine has had its ocean waves, stand up and give your hips 10 slow. Silent hulas. Each direction, picture Dorothy's smile. Picture Mrs. Tanaka at 94 carrying water buckets up the hill. Picture the you who still has dances left in her future. And when those circles settle back into stillness, stay standing. Because now we're going to do the one movement that predicts how many more dances you'll get. The one the Brazilian scientists say can add 6 healthy years to your life. It's the movement Dorothy used to get out of her chair without pushing on the armrests the night of their anniversary. Are you ready to rise? Stay standing. Dear one, don't sit just yet. I want you to feel the quiet strength that's already humming through your ankles, your shoulders, your spine, and those beautiful hips we just woke up. Because now we're going to do the one movement that made grown scientists cry when they saw the numbers. The one that tells the future better than any blood test I've ever ordered in 50 years. They call it the longevity rise in the journals Inochi no Okiru in Japan, which means the rising of life itself. I just call it the promise I make to every patient who's afraid of the floor. Back in 2012, a team of Brazilian doctors got tired of guessing who was going to stay strong and who was going to fade. So they asked 3,000 people, ages 51 to 80, to sit down on the floor and stand back up without using their hands. No knees. No pushing off. Nothing. Just body and will. Then they waited 6 years to see who was still dancing at weddings and who was stuck in a chair with a walker beside it. The results stopped hearts in medical conferences around the world. The folks who could rise smoothly lived, on average, 6 extra healthy years. 6. More than quitting, smoking gave some of them. More than perfect cholesterol. Better than any pill on my shelf. The Japanese have known this for centuries. Every morning in those mountain villages, 90-year-olds lower themselves to tatami mats to drink tea, then rise again like the sun itself. No hands, no grunts, just quiet power. Frank taught me how much that simple rise can cost when it's gone. 80 years old. Retired fire chief. Chest full of medals and stories that could make you laugh till you cried. He walked into my office leaning on his daughter's arm, eyes on the floor. When we were alone, he looked up and said, "Doc, I can't get out of my recliner without pushing on both armrests, like I'm lifting a car off a kid. If I fall in the bathroom at night, I'm not ringing that necklace button. I'd rather die than have those boys. I used to lead, carry me out on a stretcher." His voice cracked like ice on a winter pond. I saw the same man who'd run into burning buildings now afraid of his own hallway. I made him a promise that day. "Same promise I'm making you right now." I told him, "Frank, before the leaves turn this fall, you're going to stand up from the floor, holding your great-grandson. And you'll do it without touching a thing. But joy? Here's how we start. Safe as houses. Find a spot where you feel steady bedside. Sturdy chair beside you. A hallway if that's what you've got. Stand with your feet together, like you're waiting for the music to start. Take a slow breath and step your right foot straight back about 18 inches, like you're curtsying to the queen. Now lower your right knee toward the floor. Slow as honey dripping off a spoon. If your knees complain, keep a thick towel or pillow waiting. Let your left knee follow until both are resting soft on the ground. You're kneeling now, but you're not stuck. This is just visiting the earth for a moment. To rise, bring that right foot forward into a comfortable lunge. Plant it firm. And push through your heel like you're standing up to applaud your favorite hymn. Let the left leg follow. Stand tall. That's 1. Switch sides so the left foot steps back next time. 5 gentle transitions. 5. If one feels like a miracle the first week, then one is a miracle. Frank started holding onto his bedpost with both hands, grumbling that he felt like a toddler. Week 3, he was down to fingertips. Week 6, he let go completely and rose holding the morning newspaper. Week 10, he walked into my office with 3-year-old Tommy on his shoulders, both of them giggling like fools. He set Tommy down, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Doc, I didn't ring the button. Not once. And last night I got up twice to check on the baby monitor. Stood right up from the rug like I was 25. Then he hugged me so hard my glasses fogged. Japanese researchers measured folks over 70 doing this exact rise every morning. 10 weeks later, their leg power shot up 47%, 47%, knee and ankle flexibility improved 35%. And the number that still makes me tear up, fall risk dropped 43% in 8 weeks. 43. That's Margaret climbing her stairs. That's Dorothy dancing. That's Evelyn kneeling in her roses. That's Frank carrying Tommy without fear. Want to make it even more like real life? Once you're steady, hold something. A coffee cup, don't spill a drop. A grandchild's toy. A love letter you never mailed. Frank practiced with Tommy's stuffed giraffe. Said every time he stood up without dropping it, he felt like he was winning back a year. He thought he'd lost. I want you to feel what Frank felt the first time he rose clean from the rug in the dark. Heart pounding. Realizing he didn't need the nightlight anymore. He told me later he stood there in his pajamas and cried quiet tears of gratitude. Because for the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of tomorrow. So tomorrow, after your hips have had their silent hula, stay standing and give me 5 longevity rises. Start with support if you need it. Whisper, "I'm still here," every time you stand tall. Mean it. And when that 5th rise settles into your bones like sunrise, we'll pull all 5 movements together into one 17-minute morning that'll hand you back the years you thought were gone forever. Because Margaret's upstairs bedroom is waiting. Dorothy's dance floor is warm. Evelyn's roses are blooming, and Frank's great-grandson is growing fast. Your turn? Come on back to the bedroom with me. Sweetheart, let's stand right here beside your bed. To the same spot where tomorrow morning, everything changes. I want you to see it like I see it. The cover's still warm, the light just starting to creep around the curtains. And you, yes, you about to give yourself the gentlest, most powerful 17 minutes of your whole life. Here's your new morning. Written on my heart, and now on yours. You wake up. Don't leap. Don't grab the phone yet. Just lie there like you're floating on a cloud and give your ankles their 2-minute wake-up. 10 slow honey circles each way. 15 gentle flexes. Maybe the towel tug if you're feeling fancy. Whisper good morning to the feet that carried you through every county fair. Every hospital hallway. Every first day of school drop-off. That's 2 minutes. Swing your legs over the side. Sit tall like the queen you are. And give yourself 20 grandmother hugs. 3 minutes of opening your chest, letting your shoulder blades slide home. Breathing deep enough to remember what hope feels like. Picture Harold lifting me off the ground. Betty's pecan sandies waiting on the porch. That's 5 minutes total so far. Stay right there. Hands on your knees, and let 10 ocean coral waves roll through your spine. 4 seconds up. 4 seconds down. Inhaling the whole sea. Exhaling every worry you carried to bed last night. Feel yourself grow a quiet inch taller. The way Evelyn did when her roses finally smelled close enough to touch. 9 minutes gone. Stand up slow. Feet happy on the rug. And sway into 10 silent hulas each direction. Stir that invisible pot of soup with your hips. Low. Medium. High. If you're ready. Maybe holding your water glass. Like Dorothy held her husband's hand the night they danced again. 12 minutes. Then, right beside the bed that's watched you rise for decades. Give me 5 longevity rises. Step back. Lower soft as a prayer. Rise strong as sunrise. Hold Tommy's giraffe. Or your coffee cup. Or just your own heart. If you need the bedpost the first week, hold it like it's an old friend walking you down the aisle. 17 minutes. Start to finish. 17 minutes. Less time than it takes to scroll the morning news and worry about things you can't fix. 17 minutes that buy you mornings without fear. Afternoons without pain. Evenings where you dance in the kitchen, just because the radio's playing your song. Print this out. I mean it. Right now, while it's fresh, hit print or screenshot and tape it to your bathroom mirror. The one you look into every day when you brush your teeth. Write the times in lipstick if you have to. 2. San. Sit. San. Woo. 17. Let it be the first thing you see when you wake up. Like a love note from the future. You who's already climbing stairs without thinking twice. And please, don't try to be a hero tomorrow. If 5 movements feel like 5 mountains, start with 1. Margaret began with only ankle circles, because that's all her body would give her that first week. Harold started with shoulder hugs because his back said no to everything else. Evelyn began with waves because kneeling still scared her. Dorothy started with hulas because she wanted to dance more than she wanted to be perfect. Frank, he started with 1 wobbly rise, holding the walker like it was his last friend on earth. Every single one of them ended up doing all 5. Not because I nagged them, but because by day 4, their bodies started begging for the next piece. Margaret texted me on day 5, Doc. My knees want the waves now. Harold called laughing on day 6. My shoulders told the spine, it's jealous. They felt the difference before breakfast. And so will you. I want you to wake up tomorrow and feel what they felt. The quiet thrill of realizing your body isn't the enemy anymore. It's the oldest friend you've got. And it's been waiting 50, 60, 70 years for you to speak its language again. 17 minutes is all it asks. 17 minutes and a little trust, Put your hand on your heart right now. Feel it beating steady under your palm. That's the same heart that danced at your wedding, cheered at ball games, rocked babies to sleep. It's still in there. And tomorrow morning, for the first time in too long, you're going to greet it properly. Now listen close, because I've got one more gift before you start. A little plan for your first 7 days that'll turn 17 minutes into a habit stronger than any resolution you ever made on New Year's. I call it the Victory Week. And it's how every single patient I just told you about went from, "I'll try to," "I can't imagine starting my day any other way." Stay with me just a little longer. Come sit back down with me for just a minute. Dear heart, I want to hold your hand through these first 7 mornings the way I held Margaret's, the day she almost gave up. Because the difference between a beautiful dream and a brand new life is what happens between tomorrow and next Wednesday. I've watched too many folks get excited for one day and then let the alarm clock win on day 2. Not you. Not on my watch. I call this the Victory Week. And it's the same gentle plan I've given every patient you've met today. It's how Margaret went from 5 shaky ankle circles to carrying her own suitcase up those 12 stairs. It's how Harold's shoulders stopped hurting before the coffee got cold. It's how Evelyn knelt in her roses without crawling Burkhullingtear. How Dorothy danced without braces. How Frank carried Tommy without fear. Same 7 days. Same love. Same promise. Here's your roadmap. Written like a letter from the future. You who's already living it. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 1, welcome home morning. Asterisk, asterisk, tomorrow. When your eyes flutter open, don't jump up. Smile first. Say out loud, "This is the first day of the rest of my life." And it's going to be gentle. Then do only half the repetitions we talked about. 5 ankle circles each way instead of 10. 10 grandmother hugs instead of 20. 5 ocean waves. 5 silent hulas, each direction. 3 longevity rises, hold the bedpost like it's your best friend. That's 9 minutes total. When you finish, write 1 sentence in a little notebook, or the back of your grocery list. Today I started. That's it. Close the book and go make coffee. You just won the day. Day 2, listen morning. Same half repetitions, but slower. Move like you're underwater in the best way every circle. Every hug. Every wave. A love note to the body that's carried you this far. If anything pinches sharp, stop right there. Discomfort is welcome. Pain is not. Pain means pause and tell Dr. Hope in the comments. I'll be checking first thing with my tea. Write 1 new sentence tonight. Today my ankles felt warmer than yesterday. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 3, gratitude morning. Asterisk, asterisk. Add 1 extra repetition to whatever felt sweetest yesterday. Maybe 6 ankle circles instead of 5. Maybe 11 hugs. Your body will tell you which one it loved most. Listen, like it's your favorite song on the radio. Right, today I noticed I stood taller at the sink. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 4, surprise morning. Asterisk, asterisk. This is the day the magic sneaks in. Most folks wake up and realize something hurts less. Margaret texted me on her day 4 doc. I reached for the cereal on the top shelf without the grabber and didn't even think about it till I was pouring. Harold's shoulders stopped clicking. Dorothy's knees stopped sounding like Rice Krispies. Write whatever surprise shows up. Even if it's small. Like today I tied my shoes without sitting down. Small is still a miracle. Asterisk, asterisk day. 5 brave morning asterisk, asterisk. Try the advanced version of just 1 movement, the one that's been whispering. I'm ready. Maybe the towel tug with your ankles. Maybe angel wings with your hugs. Maybe high hula circles. Maybe rising with your coffee cup in 1 hand. If it feels scary, go back to half. Bravery isn't pushing through pain. It's listening and choosing joy. Right, today I tried something new, and my body said, thank you. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 6. Victory lap morning. Asterisk, asterisk. Do the full repetitions for everything that feels like home now. If 1 movement still wants half, give it half with a smile. You're not behind, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Write the sentence that makes you cry. Happy tears. Frank wrote on his day 6, stood up from the rug in the dark, and didn't need the nightlight once. Day 7 New Life Morning. 17 minutes. Start to finish. Like you were born to it. When you stand up after the last longevity rise, look in the mirror and say out loud, I did it. I really did it. Then write the sentence that becomes your new truth. Evelyn wrote, kneeled in my roses, and the dirt smelled like heaven. Dorothy wrote, danced in the kitchen, and felt 25. Margaret wrote, carried my pillow upstairs and left the walker in the hall like an old coat I'll never wear again. Keep that victory journal on your nightstand. Every morning add one line. In 30 days, you'll have a whole love story written in your own handwriting, proof that your body kept every promise it made. A few safety promises from an old doctor who's dried too many tears. Move slow as Christmas morning. Speed is for 20-year-olds who don't know better. Sharp pine means stop. Rest. And tell me below. Dull ache means almost there. Keep going, gentle. If your knees are extra cranky, double the towels. If your balance wobbles, keep one hand on the furniture like it's a dance partner. Drink a full glass of water when you finish. Your joints just threw a party. They're thirsty. If anything worries you, type it in the comments. I read them with my oatmeal, and my granddaughter helps me answer every single one. You're not starting a routine tomorrow. You're starting a love affair with the strongest, kindest, most resilient part of you. The part that never gave up, even when you thought it had. And when you finish that 7th morning, when you stand tall after your last rise and feel the quiet power humming from your toes to your crown, come back here and tell me your day 7 sentence. I'll be waiting with fresh tea and the biggest smile this side of the Blue Ridge Mountains, because Margaret's dancing now, Harold's hugging, Evelyn's gardening, Dorothy's twirling, Frank's carrying Tommy. And your turn starts in exactly 1 sleep. Now before you go, let me tuck you in with the same words. I whisper to every patient on their victory night, you were stronger than you knew yesterday. Tomorrow, you'll be stronger still. And I'm proud of you already. Close your eyes tonight knowing that somewhere in Asheville, an old doctor is falling asleep smiling, because tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and choose yourself. See you at sunrise. Love. I'll be right here. Friends. Come stand here with me a minute. Look out at these mountains. They were old when I was young, and they'll be here long after I'm gone. But you and I, we're still right in the middle of our story. And I need you to hear this from an old doctor who's held too many hands at the final chapter. I've buried far too many patients who kept saying, I'll start Monday. Monday never came for them. I refuse to let that be your story. Margaret slept in her upstairs bedroom again last Christmas Eve. She left that walker in the hallway like an old coat she'd never wear again. Harold and Betty dance every Friday night now. Slow dances under the kitchen light. The kind that don't need fancy steps. Just 2 hearts that still fit together. After 60 years, Evelyn's rose garden took first prize at the county fair this spring. She accepted the ribbon on her knees in the dirt, smiling like a girl who just got asked to prom. Dorothy sent me a video of her twirling in the living room. No braces. No cane. Just joy. And Frank? Well, Frank carries 3-year-old Tommy on his shoulders every Sunday after church. Both of them giggling like tomorrow's guaranteed. These aren't miracles. Sweetheart, they're mornings. 17 gentle minutes that whisper, loud as any church bell. I'm not done yet. Start tomorrow. I'm begging you the way I begged Margaret through her tears. Pick 1 movement. Just 1. Do it before your feet even touch the floor. Then come right back here and tell me how it felt. Tell me your age. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me the name of the grandchild you want to carry again. Or the garden you want to kneel in. Or the spouse you want to dance with when the radio plays your song. Because I'm 86 years old. And nothing still gives me goosebumps like reading your notes that say, Dr. Hope. I did the ankle circles. And for the first time in 10 years, my toes didn't feel like ice. Or I stood up from the floor holding my coffee cup and didn't spill a drop. I save every one of those comments in a folder my granddaughter calls Grandpa's love letters. If this old man and these 5 quiet movements touched your heart even a little today, do 3 things for me before you close this video. First, tap that like button. Let YouTube know to carry this message to someone else who's afraid to get out of bed tomorrow. Second, hit subscribe, and that little bell. I've got more secrets from 90-year-olds who refuse to act their age, and I'm too old to chase you down if you miss them. Third, leave me a comment. Tell me which movement you're starting with tomorrow, and why. I'll be right here with fresh tea, reading every single word. My tea's gone cold, and my next patient is waiting. But you come first. Always. This is Dr. Hope reminding you, with every beat of this tired old heart, the best part of your life doesn't have to be behind you. Sometimes it's just 17 minutes away. God bless you. Darling, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bright and early. I'll be the one smiling before the sun comes up. Because I know you're going to show up for yourself.